This right here, this is the conversation. As we go into, as we go into 2024, right there, we about to hit 34 trillion U.S. national debt. This is the conversation. 100,000 per citizen. This is what you owe. You with your social security card and your birth certificate, claiming I got a job. Good, because your ass is on the hook for about a little over 100,000 of this, because you're used as collateral by your government to the world bankers. This is in case you didn't know and don't know how this economy works. That's debt right there. At least that's what they're telling you. But this is the real debt. When you go down here, see, I don't want to talk about this number. Bang! That's a little over 200 trillion of what? Unfunded liabilities, man. Yeah, this place is done. So, the switch is going to happen. That's why a lot of banks are going to close down January 1st, 2024. Because they got to switch the system. This whole smorgasbord is destroyed. You got more red than green up here. But this is the conversation. This should be on the minds. This is America's debt. They owe somebody. For all you Americans, America owes. Let me get this video. America owes. Let that slide through your brain. You understand? Feel good about that. And that's the conversation. And they're gonna be talking about it. They're gonna be talking about it. Hold on.
So families, they do. The national debt officially reaching $33.9 trillion, according to the Treasury Department. It's being propelled by the increased government spending and also weaker than expected tax revenues coming in. Here's the kicker. And I want to ask Russ Vought, the former White House Office of Management and Budget Director, about this. At this level, each citizen in the U.S. would have to pay $100,000 to make the federal debt zero. Russ, what do you think about that?
Yeah, it's astronomical when you put it in perspective of what citizens would be required to pay, and in terms of taxpayers, it would be even higher. It's just one more data point that the $34 trillion, we'll be at $34 trillion early in January, most likely. That is totally unsustainable. We're headed towards a fiscal crisis if we don't take an opportunity to be able to cut spending and get a.
This per American is man, woman, and child. Let that sink through your head.
On this fiscal side of the house that has just been so unsustainable.
Yeah, what about if a family ran its finances like the federal government?
Well, they would be so unprepared for the kind of recklessness that you see by our lawmakers and our policymakers, right? So families, they do everything they can, and of course some of them rely on the credit card too much. But what happens? If they are relying on the credit card too much, they tear it up, and they have to go and make changes to live within their means. But we have a federal government that doesn't operate on any basis of those sound principles, and they just get on and on and on and more debt. And we gave Joe Biden, I say that the House Republicans gave Joe Biden an endless debt ceiling throughout the entirety of his administration. And so there are limited levers that we've got at our disposal, and it's important for them to use it later this month.
Yeah, so the federal deficit is up 13% from the same month last year, according to the Treasury Department. And that signals even more government spending. The CBO projects that the deficit will be closer to $1.6 trillion next year, $1.7 trillion in 2025. Going the wrong way to be able to pay down the federal debt, right?
Well, let me give you another data point. When we left office in the Trump administration, we had interest costs too high of about $300 billion, $350 billion. They're about $700 billion now per year, but we're headed potentially at the end of next year at $1 trillion in interest payments. Think about that. That's higher than what we spend on defense, and it would approach some of the highest costs of the federal government has on an annual basis, and that's just the debt. So you're taking on debt to be able to pay for the new spending that you're doing, and it's just completely unsustainable.
So the whole thing
is debt a drag on?
The whole thing is debt, 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 debt. Man, you know, is these prophecies not hitting? Is this man not on the verge of collapse? This is for all you college grads. Learn how money works. You know, you thinking this you can't bounce back off something like this. Okay. Let me see here. This is Habakkuk 2, famous scripture, and 6. Shall not all these take up a parable against him, and a taunting proverb against him, and say, woe, meaning destruction, disaster, to him that increaseth that which is not his? And that's planet Earth. Job 9:24, the earth is given into the hands of the wicked, but it ain't yours. As well as these riches. You're going to vomit it up. How long? And to him that ladeth himself with thick clay. And when you go into this word, thick clay, aren't these, man, that's how you know this book is real. These words were spoken before this man was in authority. Now, when you go into the word clay, he built his kingdom this way. This is clay here. Hebrew.
Strong's H, 5671, Avtit.
Abat Yat. That's how you say Abat Yat, which is wedges, pledge, heavy debts. Not just debt, heavy debt. This man has covered himself with thick clay, which is heavy debt. And when you go into this word, into him that ladeth himself.
Strong's H, 3513. Kavad.
To be heavy.
Second entry.
Okay, Salaki.
Kaved.
It's actually kabad. You know, these vowels, the way they pronounce it, this is something else. But it's kabad, which is to be heavy, be weighty, be grievous, be hard. This man is deep in. He's deep in to be made heavy. There's no way out of this. That here, they know it. So they're going to have to switch the system, man. Make heavy, duh. Heavy, man. Let's go to some of the Strongs. Okay, we get it. Bad sense. So this man laid it himself. Meaning the debt, it's heavy on this man's neck. You see it in real time. It's this heavy clay right here. The system, man. So they're going to have to hit the big switch to get the MOTB going. There's no way out of this.
The economy. Well, it is. I mean, the cost of financing debt on the Treasury, they have to pay more. That's going to make those Treasury bills more attractive. And as a result, that's going to be shifting financing away from more productive parts of the economy where you have businesses that want to be able to find loans and capital
and it's going to have an impact throughout the economy, but it's also, more importantly, going to lead to a financial crisis, and we just can't ever predict when these things happen. They happen at a point, often when you least expect it.
Black Swan event. That's alert. Happen at a point when least suspected. Unexpected catastrophic event. Black Swan cold Black Swan event.
And so these storm clouds have to be understood and recognized and dealt with, and that's why it's so important for the policymakers that actually care, the House Republicans, to do something about it in January when they have an opportunity. We have so much of the federal government is on autopilot.
Yeah, Russ,
Damn right, it's on autopilot. Ain't nothing you can do about this. Shit, man. Give it all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakah, Shalom. We on our way home.